Welcome to Let's Talk. I'm your host, Woodroe Thompson, and I have an exciting show for you today. My guest is an actress, a playwright, addictions and mental health specialist. She has written, directed, and produced and acted in many stage productions. Her latest production is entitled Peace of Mind. This inspires audiences to be challenged by the unforeseen world of mental health and its damaging effects of stigma, quite tangible, especially in the Black community. My guest is Colleen Taffe.
Thank you so much for having me, Bishop.
Good to have you.
Thank you.
Very good. So Colleen, so far you've written and produced 6 stage plays. What inspired you to become a playwright?
So what inspired me is actually quite selfish, to be honest.
Really?
I got out of high school and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And so I was the kid that was going to be in Hollywood.
Oh.
And so in Toronto, I tried going out and auditioning, but I didn't quite fit the roles of what people wanted. You know,
Right.
I was Black, I was plus size, and so I didn't get any leading roles. And so
Right.
I thought, well, if I want to star in something, I'm going to have to write my own. And so it really just started off to be fun because I wanted to do something where I can have an opportunity to laugh and dance. And so I wrote my first play with me in mind.
Right.
And then what happened was I just started to fall in love with creating characters and dialogue and stuff that I had in my head. So I just started to write it all down.
And it just evolved.
It just evolved. It evolved.
But I find it also that you're an addictions and mental health specialist. Mm-hmm. This is so different from being a playwright.
Exactly,
How did that happen?
right? And most people know me for joy, for
Right,
laughter.
right,
You know,
right.
I love to have fun no matter where I go. And so, but this is the awesomeness of God, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every gift that we have, I really believe there's a counteract to that,
Right.
to that gift. And so because I have so much joy, I think depression and sadness is something
Mm-hmm.
that I've always been plagued with. And so I fell into mental health by becoming a trainer, by talking, and eventually started to do more than just train. I started to step out, work in crisis, and then doors just began to open for me, and I ended up working full-time in one of the hospitals in Mississauga as a mental health and addiction specialist.
Wow,
Mm-hmm.
wow. Well, before we get to the mental health piece, which we're going to talk about, tell us about your latest play, Peace of Mind, and why Peace of Mind, P-I-E-C-E.
That's right.
Why not P-E-A-C-E?
Because pieces, working in mental health, the story that I really wanted to tell, I wanted people to know that people with mental illness, they're not just schizophrenic or they're not just bipolar, but there are many different sides of them. They're a side that they show at work, a side that they show at home, a side that they show in the grocery store. There's many different fragments of individuals, and I really wanted people to know that these pieces make up the whole. Somehow we've learned to separate from, that depression and they're over here. But I really wanted people to recognize that it's pieces of the puzzle. And then if you ask me scripturally, I can tell you that I believe that, we all make up the body, regardless of what piece you hold, that my piece fits into someone's piece somewhere, and we all make up the whole. But if I'm not careful, if I don't know where my piece fits, I'll try to cut that piece to fit, and it won't fit. So I've just got to really know, where do I fit in the bigger puzzle? Where do I fit according to the plans and purpose of God? So double meaning when it comes to peace of mind.
Oh, very good, very good. Your play is centered on faith and community. How much of an impact do these two things have?
Absolutely. I think working in mental health, one of the things that I've realized is we have, again, fragments, different pieces. I have the mental health community over here, psychiatrists and doctors and nurses and social workers. And then over here, I have the faith community, pastors and stuff like that. And then over here, I have individuals who are just looking for answers. Well, I've realized that the medical model, the medical community has done a disservice by leaving out the spiritual component. And us in the church, we've done a disservice by just saying pray and get healed.
Right.
So my objective is to really allow both the medical and the church community to see that we're all pieces of that puzzle that can really fit together, right?
That is powerful.
Thank you.
What is mental health? We hear this all the time.
Right, right.
What exactly is mental health?
So what I consider mental health, we all fit on that mental health spectrum, right? It's a continuum.
I do?
You do.
Okay.
Mental health means having a healthy mental state.
Right.
Now the word healthy, what does that mean? It can vary from individual to individual.
Right.
When we get into mental illness is when we're starting to see people's lives, their daily activities being interfered with because of depression, because of sadness, because of hearing voices or whatever the case is. So we all have mental health. We're all striving for that. The illness happens when my mental health is not in check. Right? When things start happening over long periods of time, when I start seeing things in cycle, this is when I have to realize that there's something going on with my mental illness, right? Sometimes in mental health, we can have situational things.
Right.
Someone dies in the family. Well, we're going to be sad.
Right.
We may not necessarily need medication for that. But some people, what happens is there's a death in the family, and that brings them so low, so down, that they're unable to recover. That's when I have to start looking to see, is this some sort of disorder that's been triggered because of a trauma that's happened in someone's life?
Very good. Well, Colleen, there's so much to talk about when we talk about mental health, mental illness. And when we come back from this break, we're going to dive some more into that. We'll be right back after this break.
They were being disproportionately diagnosed with something like schizophrenia. Why? When they came into the psychiatrist's office and the psychiatrist said, "Do you feel paranoia?" Well, I'm a gang member.
Right.
My answer is going to be absolutely.
Of course.
Do you think people are chasing you?
Of course.
Closed captions provided by
TV programs, convocations, conventions, graduations, YouTube commercials. Pinewood Films is a locally owned production company based in Toronto, and we're here to help you capture your event on video. It could be a Saturday or Sunday morning church service, a banquet, a business function, birthday party, even that special wedding day. Absolutely no project is too small or too large. We record and edit all of our footage professionally with high-quality HD and 4K cameras that can be used for TV broadcasting or just home viewing. The choice is all up to you. So, what are you waiting for? Call us right now at 647-933-8068, and there's no obligation. Let's talk about your ideas for your next event or project. The number is on the screen. We're waiting for your call.
Welcome back to Let's Talk, and if you've just joined us, you're in for a treat. My guest is Colleen Taffe, and she's a mental health specialist. 1 out of 3 Canadians struggle with mental illness or may know of someone who struggles with mental illness. So this is a topic that needs to be talked about.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
So how does depression relate to mental health?
I think, to be honest, I think depression and anxiety are something that we live with every day, right? I think there's times that we feel sad, there's times when we get anxious, and I think because, I'm gonna go Bible-based, we know that every time there's a mountaintop experience, the natural, what goes up, eventually has to come down. The question is, how down do we get? Some people have depression where it's hereditary, where it's in the family. So we have a chemical imbalance when it comes to depression, right? Some people are prone to depression because of their experiences or the traumas that they've had. Some people are depressed because of medical conditions, because of pain. There's so many explanations as to why somebody would be struggling with depression. But nowadays, everybody considers themselves depressed, and I think we have to really be careful around using that word, right? You really have to go to a doctor, go to a psychiatrist to figure out if what you're dealing with is clinical depression or situational depression.
No, that's important. Is that why David asks in the Psalm, "Why art thou cast down, O my soul?" Because we do get that
we
way
do get
sometimes.
that way, and that's how God's built us,
Right.
you know, to retreat. I don't know if
Right.
depression,
Right.
you know, I hear people talking about it and I'm like,
Right.
well, what makes you think you're depressed? And they
Right.
unpack it and I'm like,
Right.
well, it's maybe not depression.
Right.
You may be just going down in a low, and that's okay. That's okay.
Okay, very good. Well, is mental health related to dementia?
Yes, on the spectrum. Now, that's not my specialty, but it is on the mental health spectrum.
Right.
Dementia would be considered that for seniors, absolutely.
Okay.
Not even just for seniors. We're seeing younger people nowadays being impacted by this. I think I spoke to a man, he was in his early 40s, and he was already in a nursing home as a result of having dementia. So we're seeing it happen earlier, but it's really something that's impacted for seniors.
Okay, okay, very good. Mental health and ethnicity. We talk about the different communities, especially the black community, and there's a stigma in the black community. I'm Jamaican, and so when we saw people home,
That's right.
there's a stigma.
Right.
How do we deal with this in the black community?
I mean, culture plays a huge role on mental health, and I've read some early statistics about violence. So gang members in California, they were being disproportionately, diagnosed with something like schizophrenia.
Okay.
Why? When they came into the psychiatrist's office and the psychiatrist said, "Do you feel paranoia?" Well, I'm a gang member.
Right.
My answer is going to be absolutely.
Of course.
Do you think people are chasing you?
Of course,
So we realize
right.
that culture plays a huge impact.
Okay.
When we talk about slavery and that impact, it has a huge impact to how we're feeling. One of the reasons I wrote the play was for my black brothers, because they have a huge weight on their shoulders. So for a black man to be depressed, no, not acceptable. More acceptable for him to be angry. More acceptable for him to use marijuana. But the reality is a lot of the outward things that we're seeing is masked by symptoms of depression.
Okay. How can we get our people in the black community to start talking about this issue? Because it's something we don't, even in church, we don't talk about.
Right. I mean, in church, we talk about it kind of.
Yeah.
The challenges in church, we kind of make it demon possessed, right? We make it, you need deliverance, you need healing. And so what do you say to a pastor, for an example, who may be struggling with depression? Am I going to go to the deliverance line and say, I need deliverance? Absolutely not, right? So I think that we've probably done a disservice on how we describe mental illness and the varying degrees. Do some people need deliverance?
Right.
Absolutely. But some people, not necessarily. They just need someone to embrace and love them through the journey that they're currently on.
So are you saying then that someone who's been clinically diagnosed as having this disease, I think it's a disease, can they actually recover from it?
Various disease of recovery. How I relate mental illness is the same way I do to physical body. You see, somehow we've separated mind, body, and spirit, but they all connect. So just like someone can be living with cancer or living with HIV or living with diabetes, we can also be living with schizophrenia or living with bipolar or living with depression. But it takes a combination of medications, community support, spirituality, social workers. It takes a lot to help manage that person. So do I believe people recover? Absolutely. Do I believe that there's people who stand on the prayer lines on Sunday and get healed? Absolutely.
Right.
But it really depends on what God wants to do in you and through you and for you, right?
What I'd like to talk about, you alluded to it, but I'd like to explore it a little bit deeper, how mental health relates to my physical health. We'll talk about that when we come back from this break.
Closed captions provided by
Pinewood Films is a locally owned production company based in Toronto, and we're here to help you capture your event on video. It could be a Saturday or Sunday morning church service, a banquet, a business function, birthday party, even that special wedding day. Absolutely no project is too small or too large. We record and edit all of our footage professionally with high-quality HD and 4K cameras that can be used for TV broadcasting or just home viewing. The choice is all up to you. So, what are you waiting for? Call us right now at 647-933-8068, and there's no obligation. Let's talk about your ideas for your next event or project. The number is on the screen. We're waiting for your call.
Welcome back to Let's Talk. I have Colleen Taffe, my guest, and we're talking about mental health. Now, just before the break, I was asking you, how does mental health relate to physical health? Now,
Absolutely.
You alluded to that before.
Yeah.
But could I look physically healthy, but still be having some problems with mental health?
Absolutely. I say it again.
Not me. Don't look at me.
I'm not looking. 1 in 4.
Wow.
No, but absolutely. Can people look physically healthy when they have cancer or HIV or diabetes?
Right.
So the thing about mental health is it impacts your mind. It impacts your mind. And so we know that it's the largest organ. It controls everything in the body. So if your mind isn't operating at full capacity, it eventually will manifest itself physically. One of the things that we know from hospital is a lot of people who are in ER, in emergency rooms, are there not because of they're having physical symptoms, but the actual challenge is their mental health. Wow. So they have heart attack-like feelings. They're having diabetes, fibromyalgia. There's so many physical conditions that are linked to a sound mind. And so this is why we have to get the news out there. This is how we have to let people know you can't sit with depression for very long, because eventually it's going to take a weight on your body. People stop eating, or they eat too much, or so there's all kinds of physical conditions that are attached to our health, our mental health.
Right. Here's a challenge. So I've recognized that somebody in my family or a friend is struggling with mental illness, but no matter what I say to them,
can't get them to go.
Can't get them to go. Can't get them to admit that there's anything wrong. What do you do in a situation like that?
And this is a huge challenge for us, right? I always say prayer,
Yes,
you know,
of course,
and don't give up.
Right.
One of the things, sometimes people have a hard time expressing how they feel. There's shame, there's stigma, all of those things attached. My solution is love them through it. Let them know, you know, sometimes I'm working with a client and they're going through, you know, they're here for bipolar, and I don't even mention the mental health. I'm busy talking about other things. I'm busy building a relationship with them, letting them know that it's okay for us to talk about that. So sometimes our family members are not the right people to actually help individuals, right? Sometimes bringing an outsider in, sometimes offering them therapy or counseling might be an opportunity. But it is a thing that is not uncommon, where they don't want to necessarily get help because you're telling me that I can't trust my mind. You know, you're telling me that, and so I don't want to appear weak or dysfunctional. So one of the things we tell people to do is leave information, you know, give them information. Here's what I've heard. Did you know, I'm going to love you through this. Let's go for a walk. Let's talk. That's a plug. Did you see that? Let's talk.
One of the other things that I note that you use is humor.
Yes.
I watch a few clips with you. The Bible did say laughter is good medicine. And so maybe that's one of the things that we can use. How does that work for you?
Humor? I love using humor. It works for me when I'm working one-on-one with an individual, if I'm on the telephone, even if I'm going to talk about mental illness, I almost always want to use humor. It is good medicine. And we've read reports where people have laughed themselves to wellness.
Really?
Yes, they've just laughed and had a good time.
Laughter is good medicine.
Right? They put on videos and they laugh. People want to have a good time. They want to know that, they can recover. Sometimes we're so guilty of just talking about the mental illness when there's a whole other side of things that we can do. So laughter, vacation, holidays, I said that, family, food, proper nutrition.
Right.
That plays a huge impact. And the way we are going, even with our social media, sometimes I tell families, take away the social media, take away some of that stuff. Allow people to really have face-to-face conversations like Jesus did.
We're having.
That's right, like we're having.
Now, you're also an addiction specialist.
I am.
How does addiction tie into mental?
Okay. So can I disclose for a minute?
Yes.
So when I was right after high school into my first few years of university, I smoked a lot of marijuana. So much marijuana that when I stopped smoking, the dealer knocked on my door and was like, "You're going to put me out of business. Have some," okay? So I smoked a lot. And I remember just before I stopped, I had just I came to the church, I got saved, and which I used to get high and go to church, right? Like, let's talk about, it's a hospital, right? So I was there.
I wouldn't tell you my story.
We're going to say that. You tell me in the back room. So, but I remember being paranoid. I remember starting to feel like something isn't right, and anxiety and anxiety. So, you know, I know this isn't a political thing, but honestly, when we legalize marijuana, I will never go out of business. There are more individuals who are in hospital for first-time psychosis, meaning hallucinations or delusion as a result of smoking marijuana. And my people, because I'm Jamaican too, believe it or not, they love to tell me, "Colleen, but marijuana is natural." Well, so is cocaine. Right? So we wouldn't encourage people to smoke cocaine, so why do we encourage marijuana or other substances? There's alcohol, there's so many factors that contribute to someone's unhealthy mental health, and alcohol, addictions, and substances, they go hand in hand with mental illness.
Very good. We'll be right back with our guest, Colleen Taffe.
Closed captions provided by
Pinewood Films is a locally owned production company based in Toronto, and we're here to help you capture your event on video. It could be a Saturday or Sunday morning church service, a banquet, a business function, birthday party, even that special wedding day. Absolutely no project is too small or too large. We record and edit all of our footage professionally with high-quality HD and 4K cameras that can be used for TV broadcasting or just home viewing. The choice is all up to you. So, what are you waiting for? Call us right now at 647-933-8068, and there's no obligation. Let's talk about your ideas for your next event or project. The number is on the screen. We're waiting for your call.
Welcome back to Let's Talk. My guest, Colleen Taffe. Thank you for sharing this valuable information with us about mental health and even addictions as well. Your play, Peace of Mind.
Yes.
How can viewers see that play?
They can just come to a show. So my goal was to do some shows for Black History Month in February. So February 18th, we're going to be at the Al Green Theater on Sunday, February the 18th at 6:30. And on Saturday, February the 24th, we'll be at the Jamaican Canadian Association doing a show there. We're really hoping that we can go other places with it. And if you want to get information, you can contact us at www.peaceofmindplay.com. It's we've had an overwhelming response to the play, so we're really, really hoping that it will help break down stigma and help continue the dialogue, help people talk about something really, really, really important.
Now, I see that one of your passions is to bring joy to people's life. So all these plays that you produce, is that the vision behind the play?
Absolutely, Bishop. One of the things when I felt like the Lord was giving me the ministry, I got a little bit of a tagline or a mission statement. And the mission statement for Colleen Taffe Productions is to minister. My role is to minister joy in the hearts of people, plant seeds of joy. So if I am there to plant the seed or water the seed or harvest the seed, I want when people leave the play that they should be thinking, but they should also think, wow, that made me relax. That made me say, okay, you know, it's going to be okay. There's hope and there's joy. So that's always the underlined meaning. Anytime you come to a show, you will laugh. You will laugh, but you might cry as well.
That's good.
We're not afraid of that. So yes, joy is definitely my thing. Joy unspeakable and full of glory.
Very good. And of course, the Bible says, "The joy of the Lord is our strength." So people are watching this because mental health is something that is being talked about in our culture a lot. So I can envision folks at home watching this, and especially young people. A lot of people don't realize we haven't even talked about young people in suicide. But you have young people who are watching this, and they're saying, man, I don't think there's any hope for me. What would you say to them?
I would say that there's always hope, that oftentimes we get isolated, we get alone with our own thoughts, and of course, when I look in the mirror and stare at myself all day, I'm going to find faults. I'm going to see things that I don't like and I'm unhappy with. But I really encourage young people to begin to have conversations with their peers, yes, but perhaps with someone who can help you. You know, and sometimes our peers are going through the same thing we're going. Parents want to help, the community want to help, pastors and bishops want to help, counselors and social workers, they all want to help. And so my hope is that young people would reach out. You know, I get a lot of texts, a lot of inbox messages, and I'm really willing to go there. I'll do that for a while with you, but at the end of the day, I want to get face to face with you and let you know, look into your face and let you know that it's going to be okay. It is going to be okay. What you see today, you may not see tomorrow, right? With the proper help.
What's on the horizon for you?
What's on the horizon for me?
I mean, you've done so many stage plays. Is there something else in the back of your mind?
Yes, there's always something in the back of my mind. So, I mean, I've done Peace of Mind, and I hope that we continue to do that in various locations. But deep in the back of my mind, I have a play called My Date with Bozo. And so,
My Date with Bozo? Who's Bozo?
Listen. In the play, there's a whole bunch of bozos, men and female, and so it's a comedy. And so my hopes is to eventually have a web series around that. You know, one of the things when people leave my shows, they're always like, I want more, I want more, tell me more. With Peace of Mind, with My Date with Bozo, In a Perfect World. So I'm hoping to do more of that stuff. I'm hoping to put them all into maybe a book and give them to churches or give them to people so that they can, you know, share the wealth. Because you know what? Sometimes I'm really tired of seeing bad Christian plays. Like, I love our people, but sometimes they leave me a little bit wandering. So I'm hoping that we can now increase or raise the level or raise the bar. Not that my plays do that, but I think the more that we produce, the better we get. So eventually I hope to have a book, I hope to do some of our web series, and I hope that Peace of Mind really brings about some education. I also do suicide intervention, and so I'm hoping, I'm hoping with the play that it'll open some of those doors so that we can do some solution-focused stuff, right? It's not enough to just open the box, but I want to offer solutions as well.
So you also go into churches?
I go into churches, and wherever they want me, I will go.
So share with us again how our viewers can contact you and get in touch with you, and even pastors, bishops like myself can get in touch with you.
Yes. So you can reach me at Colleen Taffe. So I am. I have a website, colleentaffe.com. You can also reach me at the Peace of Mind, www.peaceofmindplay.com. You can email me at colleentaffe@rogers.com. And then you can call me at 416-558-3860.
Well, Colleen, it's been a pleasure having you on
Thank you so much.
And for our viewers who've been watching, listening to Colleen, if you need to, please reach out to her. And always remember, there is hope. This is all the time we have on Let's Talk. We'll see you again next time. Let's keep talking.